Just ahead on CTV News.
I'm Noel James, and coming up on CTV News, I'll have what you need to know on snow removal.
Plus, Jolene Ivey drops out of the county executive race. And we sit down with the county executive candidate. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for February 13th. I'm Mariah Delat.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, snow cover in Prince George's is sticking around due to frigid temperatures, but at least it's not stuck on the roads.
With details on how snow removal has changed since the last storm, here's CTV's Noel James.
From frustration to gratification, Prince George's residents are now content with snow removal following this week's storm. Let it snow, and snow it did. As we reported in the first major snowstorm of January, crews were overpowered by Mother Nature and took several days to clear nearly 2,000 miles of road in the county. In a public meeting, infuriated residents held their leaders accountable on poor snow removal. The county council promised to improve the next snowstorm, and the difference is night and day. The county saw up to 7 inches of snow, and the Department of Public Works and Transportation kept good on their word. County Councilwoman Walla Blagay said that this time's response was a drastic improvement, saying things in January were handled very differently. This time, schools got only 1 snow day as opposed to 4, and that was a good day to be out in the snow. And believe it or not, guys, more snow is on the way next week. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thanks, Noel. Well, a major shakeup in the Prince George's County executive race. County Council Chair Jolene Ivey is out. Once a front-runner to replace Angela Alsobrooks, Ivey announced her sudden exit Wednesday, but says she'll keep fighting for residents in her role on the council. But with ballots already out and some voters already casting their choice as Ivey, what happens to those votes? Maryland law doesn't allow votes to be changed or reallocated. So even though Ivey is no longer in the race, any votes for her will still be counted. And with a crowded field still in play, the question now, who picks up Ivey's supporters? And the Maryland budget situation is looking even worse than pessimistic predictions. Senate President Bill Ferguson is questioning if the budget has cash for core state programs in the federal crosshairs, now that President Donald Trump is attempting to freeze funding. Meantime, lawmakers are looking to make additional cuts and adjustments in proposed budgets. State environment and energy agencies are already not receiving usual funding, and major changes at the Department of Education could put school programs in the same situation. And state officials also voiced concerns about the future of Medicaid.
And within the past week, 2 people are leaving from top positions within the state. Eric Barron, the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland, resigned and left yesterday. Barron had been in the position since 2021 and was the first Black U.S. Attorney for the state and the first presidentially appointed Democrat in 20 years to hold the position. Last week, Governor Moore announced that Dr. Laura Scott, the Maryland Department of Health Secretary, will be leaving her position by the end of the month. Dr. Scott has been in this position for the past 2 years. Meanwhile, a federal judge is giving the green light for the Trump administration's plan to cut the federal workforce. The White House offered workers the option to quit and get paid until September or risk getting fired with no pay. About 75,000 have already accepted. U.S. District Judge George O'Toole ruled that the labor unions challenging the buyout didn't have standing since they weren't directly affected. Now, while this is a win for Trump, other executive orders like freezing federal spending and dismantling USAID have been blocked by judges.
And President Trump's nomination for FBI director moves one step closer to the agency despite Democratic opposition. This morning, the Senate Judiciary Committee voted 12-10 along party lines to advance Kash Patel's nomination to the full Senate. But the backlash is growing. Congressman Glenn Ivey and 30 Democratic lawmakers slammed the pick, claiming that Patel is unqualified and a threat to public safety.
I thought it was important to try and speak truth to power And the letter is aimed at getting that done and making sure we let them know that we think he is not only bad for the FBI, but bad for national security and public safety, and also good for domestic enemies like the cartels in Mexico and criminal enterprises that are operating in the United States. It's not just Democrats who are raising these concerns. You've heard that former Attorney General Bill Barr said when they talked about Patel becoming the deputy FBI director, it would happen over my dead body, was the statement that he made.
And with confirmation likely in the coming weeks, Democrats say they'll keep fighting to block Patel from leading the FBI.
Well, President Donald Trump has imposed tariffs on 3 of America's biggest trade partners, but how will those tariffs impact American consumers? First, it's important to know that a tariff is a tax on imported goods. Trump imposed a 10% tariff on goods coming from China. That means American consumers will most likely pay more for Chinese goods like computers, cell phones, and video game consoles. Professor Kisleya Prasad with the Center for Global Business at the University of Maryland says that the prices of imported goods will go up, but not exactly by 10%.
So yes, there's a genuine danger that we just was sort of getting inflation under control, that there's the genuine danger that is set off again. And inflation is like a sustained increase in prices, not a one-time, but of course tariffs are likely to stay for a while, so they're going to add to prices. And then once prices go up, workers want higher salaries to compensate for that, and then companies raise prices more, and so you often get into that cycle of increasing prices, and there's a real danger that this will set that off.
And Prasad says presidents from both parties have imposed tariffs over the years. Trump has put a pause on a 25% tariff on imported Canadian and Mexican goods.
And you're watching CTV News. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, a well-known play has made its way to the Bowie Playhouse.
After the break, hear from 2 of the actresses on what it took to portray the complex characters.
Mom, did you really need to buy 2 can openers for our emergency kit?
I can't help it. They're 2 for 1. What's this?
We need to keep our family communication plan safe in case of an emergency.
Thanks, Tita. Oh, man.
Well, good thing we kept all the lights we used for the rally.
I've got the battery pack.
Keep my phone powered so we don't miss any alerts.
What about game night?
Sounds good.
Oh, we have to get to Mom and Dad's and get them somewhere safe. I've got the evacuation route loaded on my phone.
I've got an updated list of Dad's meds.
And I've got just what we need to get them to take this seriously.
If that doesn't convince them that we thought this through, I don't know what would.
Start a conversation with your family and plan together for emergencies.
Well, I'm looking good. Thank you. Just became a real ID. What's the plan? Impromptu road trip? Actually, the plan is to fly to New York for today's product launch, and then visit the family in California and cap it off with a girls' weekend in New Orleans. You really can just do all that. Sure, I'm a real ID, so I'm good to board any domestic flight. Speaking of which, gotta fly. Nice, enjoy. I'll be here.
Be your real ID self by May 7th, 2025. Find out how at tsa.gov/realid.
Welcome back. 12 Prince George's County's seniors are named 2024 Posse Scholars, earning full tuition 4-year college scholarships from partnering schools. Now, students participating in the Posse program have a 90% college graduation rate and have proven to make a difference on campus and in their professions. Since 2013, more than 70 PGCPS students have received Posse scholarships, and you can see all 12 students right there on your screen.
And the battle for the rights to concessions at BWI Airport finally comes to an end. The Board of Public Works has awarded the current operator, Fraport Baltimore Partnership, LLC, a new 21-year contract. This ends a 3-year battle between the Maryland governor, comptroller, and treasurer, who all sit on the Board of Public Works. Fraport CEO Sabine Trank called the new contract a, quote, tremendous opportunity, but also a profound responsibility.
Well, Well, Maryland lawmakers are proposing a bill that would put a tax on sugary drinks. If passed, House Bill 1469 would put a 2 cents per ounce tax on sugary beverages, syrups, and powders in Maryland. Now, the money raised is projected to bring about $500 million annually. The funds would then go to free school meals, child care subsidies, and the state's general fund. Delegates Emily Shetty from Montgomery County and Jocelyn Pena-Melnick of Prince George's are co-sponsors of the bill. A hearing on the measure is set for March 6th. And for decades, a popular play that depicts some of the struggles of Black womanhood has been touching the lives of its audience. Well, now it's back with a new set of actors taking on the iconic roles. Second Star Productions is putting on the play For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough. The play was originally a book of choreo poems. The show, which is now running at the Bowie Playhouse, will feature 13 female actors who are identified by the colors that they wear, like Lady in Blue or Lady in Yellow. CTV News spoke to 3 of the actors who say their characters deal with some heavy topics that still impact Black women today.
So this show is a celebration of breaking free of having that burden of trying to fit into what society believes Black women should fit into. Because we can cry, and we can be angry, and we can be stressed out, and we can have all these things happening. And we are strong, and we are good wives and good mothers and good examples to our children.
I hope that the conversations are, that it's okay to feel this or feel that. I think there's so many different layers that the different poems offer you to just sit with and say, you know what, I felt that, or I can relate to this, and it's okay, and I'm glad it was expressed in this forum.
You think about what would someone expect when they see this is they should expect to feel seen. You're not crazy, what you're going through is valid, and until we continue to tell this story and demand change, things will stay the same. So when you come, I think that is an opportunity to do your part, to feel seen, and also to keep telling that story to know you're not crazy.
And For Colored Girls will run until March 1st, but for more details, visit the website right there on your screen.
Well, the mother of Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels went viral this season for a custom Mama 5 jacket that she sported late in the regular season. Well, that jacket was created by a local clothing company called Shooter Sports, who showcases the culture of the DMV through fashion.
So Shooter Sports started in 1997. It was the culture of DC. We've been known for music, fashion, sports, and all of the different things that go along with DC. But fashion was one of the big things that was happening. After I got out of school, I went to Virginia State and just thought about opening up and becoming part of the culture. And that's how I kind of just branched out and opened up Shooter Sports. We definitely are the heartbeat of the culture. And I can say that because our community has supported us for the 28 years. We've had, professional boxers from this area. We've had hip hop artists from, Irv Gotti to 50 Cent to Allen Iverson. You name it, it's the list goes on. I was humbled and man, honored to be able to make a jacket for Mrs. Daniels, or Mama 5 as she requested. It was the Dallas game, and she bumped into one of my friends, and she was, fellowshipping at some of the fans and tailgates, and she saw a shirt and some shirts that some guys had on that represented the DMV, which were the Shooter shirts, and they FaceTimed me right then, and we started talking, and I said, hey, I can make you a jacket, let's do this. She said, okay, cool. So it actually just happened organically. It was nothing planned. She was able to resonate with the culture of the DMV, and I was just honored to be able to make that jacket for her. So it just worked out. I always say Shooters for life. What I would like to do is we've started a nonprofit, gyms, where we are teaching the youth this fashion design, and we're giving back. Our goal is to be able to give back to our community so that this culture of fashion that's in the DMV continues to just grow.
You can visit Shooter Sports at their Forestville location on Marlboro Pike. And still to come on CTV News, CTV is bringing you one-on-one interviews with candidates for the county executive seat.
After the break, we sit down with Aisha Braveboy and discuss her plans if elected. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Most hiring algorithms would scream me out.
Some bosses couldn't see me as a leader.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
I've been running code as long as I've been able to reach a keyboard.
This is what I do. It's second nature for me, coordinating 100 details at once.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
I sold them on my skills.
You gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
My magic is
analytics and empathy. That's how I get clients. You have to have the confidence in yourself to show up and defy the odds.
I am
more than who I am on paper.
I never got a college degree. And today, I'm the CEO of my own company. People want to tell me I'm one in a million, when actually I'm one of millions. Stars are all around us. It's time for them to shine.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
The special primary election for the county executive seat is less than a month away. In the next coming week, CTV will bring you exclusive interviews with each of those candidates.
And joining us in the studio today is State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy. Ms. Braveboy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this is a really critical race, and the person that comes into this position in county executive is taking over at a difficult time for the county with the budget issues and lots of other issues going on. So what would you set into motion in the first 100 days if you became county executive?
Well, one of the things we must do is unify our county. Our county executive and council must work together collaboratively to set priorities. Some of those priorities have to be to look at what's going on at the federal level and determining how it's impacting us here locally. We have about 30,000 federal employees, and as of yesterday, there is a lot of insecurity because of the freeze on that federal policy around trying to reduce the workforce, that the judge lifted that freeze. And so unfortunately that has placed over 30,000 Marylanders, well, Prince Georgians really, in jeopardy. And we have to make sure that we know who is impacted, have plans to assist them. I'm going to be working with our state delegation on a piece of legislation to provide some emergency assistance for federal workers that the state legislature is considering now. So there's a lot of work to be done to ensure that our federal workers are protected.
And with that, do you foresee any layoffs or furloughs happening within the county?
Well, right now, the county government really needs permanent employees. There's a lot of contract workers right now, a lot of temporary workers. So we do need to shore up our workforce in the county. Some of those federal employees who are impacted may be able to find opportunities in county government or even state government. We absolutely must focus on building a strong workforce here in Prince George's County. While we have budget challenges, we still have to fund our priorities. We have agencies that absolutely must have permanent employees who are dedicated to improving the services here in Prince George's County.
And when it comes to that budget, you know, we're already dealing with a deficit and now we're inheriting cuts from the state and the federal level. So what cuts can be made here in the county without affecting those essential services?
Well, that's something we're going to have to look at. I mean, I think anyone coming in is going to have to really audit the county government's current spending. We have to ensure that we are spending efficiently and effectively. Certainly we have to prioritize education and public safety, but there are other priorities too, like ensuring that we have trash pickup and clean roads and services for our seniors and those with disabilities. So the reality is, whoever comes in, we're going to have to look at the current budget levels and spending levels, work with the interim county executive to understand how the budget was put together and make some changes that will reflect the priorities of whoever's coming in.
Now, you've promised not to raise taxes, but would you raise taxes in other areas to help the budget deficit?
So we have limited authority here in Prince George's County to raise taxes. A lot of what happens is at the state level. So we are monitoring closely any of the tax proposals or increases that are being proposed at the state level. You mentioned one of them earlier in your broadcast regarding sugary drinks. There are some other proposals that are being discussed that would raise revenues. So we'll work with our state legislature to see what options are available.
And here in the county, we're really strong when it comes to small businesses. But how do you plan to expand that commercial tax base and bring in those really large corporations that, you know, build jobs and provide tax money?
Well, let's go back to our small businesses. I think we have some great small businesses here that haven't actually gotten the opportunities with our local government that they should and that they're entitled to. So the first thing we can do to directly impact the amount of money that we are collecting on the commercial side is to do business with the businesses in Prince George's County, be much more intentional about doing that. In addition to that, we have to look at those industries that will naturally grow here. Certainly the healthcare industry is an important industry, looking at bringing not only facilities like hospitals, but also research facilities as well, and those that are doing clinical trials. We have a lot of people here in Prince George's County, unfortunately, that are on medication. So being a part of that process of figuring out what medications work best for people and being part of those clinical trials are important. And those research companies should be locating here. That's definitely an industry I'll be focusing on.
Now let's talk a little bit about affordable housing. Right now, an average townhome is going for about $400,000. Do you have a plan currently in creating more affordable housing? And if so, what is that plan?
Yeah, let me tell you, recently, just yesterday, I was endorsed by the Prince George's County Association of Realtors. And I think one of the reasons is because this issue of affordable housing was top of mind for them. The thing that I talked about is increasing the number of units that we have available. But the way we do that is to build where it's smart to build in our existing communities that are established communities where we have infrastructure already, as well as around our metro stations. We still have the most undeveloped metro stations in the region. So these are areas where we can actually build density, providing opportunities for first-time home buyers, as well as seniors who may want to live closer to transportation, want to have shopping and recreation and restaurants in a walkable area. So, you know, we have available land. We just have to be smart and intentional about how we develop.
Mm-hmm. And one of your stated priorities is that you want to clean up the county.
Yes.
So why is that a major issue for you, and what are the specific steps that you're going to take to accomplish that?
Because I think one of the issues is that where there is neglect, people feel like they can come and do whatever they want to do. If you see trash on the ground, sometimes people think they can throw trash on the ground. And also it reflects areas where maybe law enforcement or others are not paying attention. So we want the residents and visitors to Prince George's County to know that every part of Prince George's County is important to us, important to the government, and we're going to clean up every part of it. So it is important because, number one, that is something that people could absolutely look at every single day and see a reflection of their tax dollars at work or not at work. If you go outside and you see a bunch of trash, you think no one cares. And so we have to show that we care, and we will clean up those areas. And on the state roads where the state has responsibility, if they don't clean it up in a timely manner, we'll clean it up and send them the bill.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here,
you.
Ms. Braveboy. The special primary election will be held on March 4th, but make sure you tune in tomorrow. We'll be introducing another candidate, Ron Hunt, only on CTV News.
And don't go anywhere. After the break, we have our Metro Minute.
And a look into your weekend weather forecast. Stay tuned.
Having low income can mean making tough choices. Choosing between paying for food or medication or a place to live is a reality for many people. Do you know someone who could use some extra help? Find out about the Supplemental Security Income Program, SSI. You could receive monthly SSI payments if your income and financial resources are low and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability or who is blind. SSI is money you can use to help pay for basic needs, like putting food on the table, keeping the lights on, paying the rent. It can mean new shoes for growing feet or help with medical needs. Call 1-800-772-1213 or visit ssa.gov/SSI to schedule an appointment or start to apply today. That's ssa.gov/SSI. Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
I am an athlete. I am an educator.
I'm an EMT, a neurologist, a veteran, a business owner.
I'm a mom.
We are survivors. Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women and doesn't discriminate.
It can affect any woman at any age or stage.
Yet many women don't know it's our greatest health threat.
Encourage 3 women you love to learn more about their risk factors and how they can take charge of their health today.
And now it's time for our Metro Minute. Attention all of Southern Prince George's, the WSSC Boil Water Advisory has now been lifted. After the water main break on Tuesday, test results show the water is now safe to consume. Also, drivers, listen up. Starting Monday, two-way traffic on Central Park Drive will be shifted to one side of the roadway. The traffic switch will be implemented as part of the new bridge construction for Maryland Route 4, Pennsylvania Avenue.
And grab your tissues and thermometers. Flu cases are surging across the United States. The CDC has reported at least 24 million people have been infected this season, with more than 300,000 hospitalizations and 13,000 deaths. Meantime, President Donald Trump has appointed himself chairman of the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center. Trump shared in a social media post, "The Kennedy Center is an American jewel and must reflect the brightest stars from all across our nation."
And let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be clear and breezy. Tomorrow, if you're still making plans with your Valentine, it's going to be nice and sunny with a high of 38. Saturday, not as nice. We have a high of 46 degrees and we'll have a 100% chance of rain. Sunday, more rain is expected. We'll have a high of 60 and a low of 26.
And for our community calendar, the Department of Permitting, Inspections and Enforcement and the Department of Housing and Community Development will be hosting its final listening session focusing on permanent rent stabilization. This listening session will be in person at the Housing Authority building. For more information, contact 301-456-4369.
And that's all the time we have for CTV News. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.